So you came in from Versus or from Relink, or you saw your friends gushing about how near or Theox or Zeta, some Grand Blue Fantasy character won their heart over and they're just gushing about them, and you're just like, okay, sure, let me get into this game. So you get into the game, you do your roles, and you find out firsthand what a grid is. You get random pieces, and then you just go and think, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do with all these things? So then you ask, and then you get told to go to the wiki and just basically learn how to grid build. If you run into somebody who has the exemplary people skills that rivals Genshin Impact fandom at its most vocal and passionate, or the Love Live fans when it comes to anything male in general. Uh, so you're over here looking at this page right here, or maybe you didn't even get as far as to find the page because again, there's attack types, charge types, plain damage formulas, critical damage, supplement damage, damage cap, detail damage formula, and then the basic concepts where oh hey, boom, you come over here, you click over here, and you learn things like what an elemental mod is, what an omega mod is, with this horseshoe over here, with the unknown world mod, a normal mod, and then you see this little damage formula over here too. And then you think, oh, hey, boosting types and all this other stuff. And then it's like, it can't be that complicated. Yeah, look at this basic formula. It's only using multiplication. It's totally fine, right? Right? So, here's the detailed version of the damage formula. Character total attack times elemental boost times normal or omega and EX mod boost times character MD boost times stamina boost times maturity ring boost, unique stackable boost, assassin boost, X total character unique attack boost. And before I even continue reading the rest of this formula off, no character usually has all of these together. These are just basically all the different buffs and ways damage is calculated in this game altogether. No, the game does not tell you explicitly, oh hey, this is how much it's gonna be calculated in for this. The closest we get is the game calculator, and it's not always as accurate as you would want it to be. And then, other things like, oh, if your crew decided to turn on a buff or not. Any crew skills, any attack down buffs, technically... Actually, this might need to be updated, because I'm just thinking, oh hey, the buffs from the Xeno, but then they don't boost raw attack. I don't think like that, so maybe not. But still, that's technically another mod in there too that isn't just accounted for here. So yes, all this. Learn how to make a grid. Yeah. And good luck finding someone that will actually, explain all of this and make it make sense instead of, just telling you to go copy a grid off of a guide, which, you can. You easily can. Like, let me see, advanced grids, you could just do this. You could go, well, basic grids over here. You can go over, let's see, fire. Yep. You can copy all of this. You're like under rank 100. So yeah, just get a bunch of canes and everything. It's like you don't even need these uncapped. You just get the seraphic weapon, a random EX mod from a random side story mission or two. Or any strong weapon. Oh, and then any EX modifier or Lord of Flame. And then it does give you a little bit of a note here explaining some of the things going on with this grid and why choices were used. But then again, remember the formula I told you about, oh, stamina, enmity, assassin, everything else like that. That's in the detail formula. Yeah, those aren't things... Well, assassin isn't a part of the grid, usually. Usually. Thank you, Wind. And then stamina, stamina and enmity are also types that you have in the grid, but in this case, no. Not with this grid, because none of them give those sort of buffs. So when you finally get a weapon like that, you wonder, oh, hey, is it going to be automatically better? And then the whole thing is going to be, it's complicated technically because of what you're trying to do and everything else, this, that, and the third. But learn how to grid build. It's totally easy. Just reading the wiki is just totally fine. It's easy. This game isn't convoluted at all with all the many hitting buffs and everything else like that. That is just pretty much you're stuck unless you find someone that can basically do the math and reverse engineer everything. Oh, speaking of buffs and everything, just letting you know that even though they had that cute damage formula and everything else like that, sometimes your buffs are going to be additive versus multiplicative, and sometimes they might not stack or override other buffs. Like right here, see with me? There are 5 different types of buffs. A-sided, B-sided, C-sided, D-sided, and E-sided buffs will not stack with other buffs of the same element or the same letter. They will overwrite other existing buffs of the same side, regardless of strength. So, and then, superior element, which is another buff it has. Like, if you use Seraphic Weapon or the ultimate weapon with the Seraphic Key, pretty much you'll be doing that superior damage. So, when you go into the shop and you see Seraphic weapons and it does, like amplify, like fire damage, earth damage against, foes weak to it, that's the superior element bonus damage. And side A buffs override weaker ones the same type. Side B buffs currently only consist of character buffs. So, usually a character will have their own self buff. That would be side B and everything. Well, that sounds easy enough. Notice how the other 3 types just weren't mentioned here? It was just those 2. And then we have this wonderful table here, which totally isn't just overwhelming to look at if you're just trying to get into this game because you saw Anila or you saw Natera and you wanted to go get your waifu in this game, and now you're over here being told, oh, you're gonna have to wait to ticket or spark her and just go through this game without her for however many sort of events and months until either A, a ticket comes out for if she even is ticketable, or B, a random air comes where you can just get her. That's if you can even get her in a gacha. If Nier is your waifu or Seox is your husbando, then you're gonna have to literally just grind for them. Which, on the one hand, they're easy to get as far as, not needing any sort of currency, money-wise. On the other hand, looks at the go bar and looks at the evil light, and I close my eyes. So, summons, charge attack, skills, all of these stack together along with passive abilities. That's what all of this table is. And then again, a special buff or one of the 5 can all stack up. And then some are just like, oh, hey, if it's fixed or not. So, okay, let's see. Let's narrow this down. Let's look at fire, for example. And you can go with weapon types and everything else like that. Okay. Here, we narrowed it down to fire. We're just gonna look and see what some buffs people can do. Alan over here is great. Like, he's an evoker. You can get him from this Arcarum. And his skill over here, Rattan Creed, it gives all your allies 100% triple attack up, so pretty much guaranteed. The only reason why it doesn't say guaranteed is if you have something in your grid that cuts down on your triple attack or multi-attack rate. Which, is another thing too in this game with some weapons and some skills and everything else like that. But again, remember, grid building is easy. All you have to do is just look at the wiki. Read, Gaijin, read. It gives you 30% bonus fire damage and inflicts shorten on all allies, which is basically a debuff that means they can't get charge bar and everything. And it's for 4 turns. You can use the clarity skill on Doncho if you have that unlocked to just pretty much get rid of that. And then, if you got him uncapped and everything, you can pretty much get Days of Redemption activate, which just turns that on automatically. Now that's the skill. Here is a passive skill from a character. So when they remove a buff, so maybe the enemy you're fighting has superior element damage or supplemental damage up, attack up, or like double attack up, something like that, they can use their skill to remove it and inflict their debuff. And when that happens, enemy allies gave 40% fire damage and everything one time while just pretty much attacking them with the enemy, which is great. And then, here, while Alan's is 4 turns, it's indefinite for one time. While Alan's is over here is side A, Barbarian Sarah over here is side B. So they could work together. You could also get Beatrix over here involved, the summer version. For where she casts these skills, these effects and everything. And again, that would be a special one. Versus, while Rising Stars over here is side B. Which needs to be verified, apparently. How long has she been out? And it's 2024? But again, remember, grid building is easy. Just consult the wiki. It's totally fine, because everything is just here for you. Learning to grid build isn't tedious at all. But then someone's saying, well, I'm talking about character. Okay. Let's go back to the grids. So, this page over here, basic grids and everything, again, gives you the basics and everything. Let's show you how this game can get. All content is capable with Omega Grids. Yeah, that's important to know. And then, here are the quit weapons for Omega-sided weapons. These you can farm on Arcarum, and there's a tier 1.5 raid. These are over here comes from Grimnir's raid, which is an M2 raid. This thing over here is from a Revan raid. So, it's from Agastia. So, if you don't have a light party, which is thick with HP and, certain characters in order to basically do the entire raid, you will not see this thing. Because it's not like you can go over there and leech that raid the way you can do any other ones over here. Because again, you need honors in order to get the chest that would have the potential to have the weapon in the first place. But again, some will just straight up forget that that's a thing and just automatically assume that you as a new player can just do that easy, no problem, and just go right in there and just say that. Some may actually have like the sense to know, probably won't be able to do that yet because Grid's not up to par, don't have the characters to do it, which is more likely the case because again, the raids for these over here, you can get away with just about anything because classes and characters have gotten so good that pretty much anything can work just about. Where the raid for getting Agastia, for example, would require specific characters out of light. It doesn't matter if you have Rosemia and Light Charlotta and everything. They're not going to be doing anything here. They might be able to do something in Avatar, but yeah, that's about as much you're going to be getting from them. And then you see, these crit weapons over here are primal. And you can tell because they're all grand and everything. They have the normal mods and everything else like that. And then over here, these are special. These are farmable, and they're unboosted because they're not boosted by a summon aura of either for their stuff, and effect and everything for crit. Here it's charge attack, again, same thing. Farmable aside from the middle section, which are gonna be from getting certain characters from the gacha. Again, same as the first. Grand over here is gacha. Up top over here is farmable. CA. And again, this over here is from a Reverend raid. So have fun with that. Meanwhile, this one is going to be RNG from the second parts of Arcarum. Oh, Arcarum? Sandbox? Multiple parts? You didn't know that? Remember, grid building is easy. All you have to do is read the wiki page. That's all you have to do in order to understand and get into Grand Blue easy. Because it's not totally overwhelming with how much information you had to actually read to understand what the hell is going on in your grid. Supplemental damage and everything else over here listed, unboosted. And then this page over here will absolutely like just pretty much tell you, oh hey, grid setups that want to reach 100% crit, boosting skills. Just wants, HP without using weapon awakening, boosting skills like Majesty or Regis. So yeah, it does give a little bit of explanation of what some skills are and everything else like that. And it tells you, oh, which the summons over here. Top row Omega, bottom row Primal. And these over here are element, where it is basically as long as it's the same element, all fire, all dark, they'll just boost it all. Well, actually no, like any element whatsoever they'll just boost, so yeah, you don't have to technically match. And here you go, some special ones. Oh, and then AX skills and everything else for that, which would be from certain raids like Six Dragons, or just mostly likely you'll be getting them from Sandboxing, the second half. Again, you're wondering, oh, wait, Alcarm and everything else like that. Oh, should you just go to the Sandbox and just blow 30 pots in order to get the right AX skill for your Ancient X-Axe for your Magna Grid, Fire Grid? Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Don't ask a veteran that, because they probably might say, oh, yes, or you can skip that and just use Mugen weapons instead. Again, that's the Reverend raid that you had to be ranked 200 in order to get into. That says nothing about actually getting the honors to actually get the weapon to drop in the first place. But once again, what is it? Learn to build a grid. It's completely easy. We have the page right here. See? You can even leave in the comments to say, oh, how easy and how clear this whole explanation is so far. Because probably right now, someone just thinking, this is just a bunch of words. What the heck does this mean? There's just a bunch of damage numbers and formulas and everything else like that. So, yeah, unless you got like a friend that actually plays this game and can actually sit down and actually explain to you some things, like why some certain matters that the guys don't explain, you're just gonna be SOL if you have to depend on just like, randoms. Because again, the way they come at you would probably, be akin to, oh, just read, or be questionable. So, let me give you an example here. DNA weapons. So, you want to know what DNA weapons are? Basically, you see them DNA right. Here they are. And click on this one. You get the win one, the donut, and then also well, the donut looking fist, and then the axe from the raw ain't it right. You need to be rank 120 in order to join. And it costs you one true wind anima, which you can get from lower tier raids or get from the shop in order to host. And it costs you 60 action points in order to do. So you can have 30 participants up here, and then second to sixth for like the vice captain chest and everything, or vice EMP. It's affected by strike time, so if you're in a crew and it actually has that set up, well, actually, no. That's actually old. Now you can set your own strike time. So if you play at 3 p.m. your time every day and you want to just basically just go in and just blast raids and everything, you can set your personal strike time to that when you're in a crew. So then you can just go ham immediately. You need to be rank 121 in order to unlock this raid, and host and clear Tiamat Omega Impossible in order to do it. Its location is after chapter 66, so you need to do some main story too in order to basically get to the location in order to do it. The table here explains the raid, like her HP, her charge time is normally, and then her level. Explains all her triggers down here, what her triggers do, and again, the DNA raid. Basically, when you cancel an omen, you get amplified damage, and it stacks up to 5. And her gimmick over here is every time you use any damaging skill that are red bordered, she gets a buff. And every time she gets a buff from you in a damage skill, your entire party gets 10 charge bar. And then, you can see down here, oh, hey, primal weapons. You could get a sand, possibly. The innate weapons, what you want to get from the host chest and everything. And it also shows up in the blue chest, also the MVP chest. So you have 3 chests out of, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That you can possibly get something good out of. Or, weapon plus marks. You're most likely going to be getting a raw anima over here from the blue chest. And again, it's highly likely going to be that old wind crystal over there from the MVP. And again, raw anima again for the host. There's a 51% versus, a 7% chance of getting the weapon. Percentages are fun. It's like the 0.2% for the sand, but 97.1% for a wind urn. So then the whole thing is, oh, okay, I just told you how this raid goes. Now, again, you're supposed to make a team from whatever amount of characters, whatever collection of characters you have. Some of you might have Luffy, some of you may not. Some of you might have Kengo and your Fire Kanashige mate, or some of you don't. Good luck. Basically, getting, solid advice in order to work with whatever you have in your box. Because, sometimes you could just be saying, oh, there's just no point in doing it. Or just burst. And again, if you're working on an M1 grid in particular, because again, you just started a game because you love vanilla, or Vasaraya, and you saw you had a fire form, so you use your starter on him, or some sort of situation. You're just gonna be like, oh, guess I can't do this raid. But then, you need the weapons from this raid in order to, do good with your wins, so you can farm earth, so then you can farm water better, so that you can get your fire weapons that you want to get for your fire grid. Isn't it fun? Grid building is completely, totally easy. It is very, very intuitive, and there's nothing like it. So, yeah, if you have any questions go right ahead. You can just drop it as a comment, a like, subscribe if you basically, get where I'm coming from, reading this whole wiki and everything. And yeah, if you ever find a person that actually, doesn't talk to you like they never talked to a human being in their life and actually shows you like patience and respect as a genuine human being, absolutely, play with that person. Yes, keep that person in close because they are a rare gem.